He used sweet words to lure a female colleague back to his place, but not for romance. Instead, he headed straight for the kitchen. Although he was cooking for her, he wasn't pursuing her, he was pursuing perfection. The moment the noodles left the pot, he quickly coated them in fragrant scallion oil, garnished them with finely chopped celery, and presented the exquisite dish to the beauty. Then he walked away, allowing her to focus entirely on the flavor. He is a world-class chef. For him, the process of creating food is just as satisfying as eating it. Even when preparing breakfast for his son, he never cuts corners. He spreads butter onto toast, places it on a hot griddle, and lets the bubbling butter crisp the bread to perfection. He adds a slice of cheese, seals the edges with more butter, and plates it the instant the cheese melts. It's a calorie bomb, but one that delivers ultimate satisfaction. Driven by his passion, Carl lands a job as executive chef at a high-end restaurant. But this enviable, high-paying position soon becomes a source of torment. His boss, Arthur, is an egotist who has forced him to cook the same signature dishes for 10 years. The repetitive routine makes Carl feel like a robot on an assembly line, empty, monotonous, and soulless. He is on the verge of a breakdown. Then he learns that a notoriously picky food critic, Ramsay, is coming to rate the restaurant. Filled with excitement, Carl designs an entirely new menu, confident it will impress. But Arthur shuts him down with a dark expression. When Carl tries to explain, Arthur cuts him off coldly. "It's my restaurant. I call the shots." He orders Carl to stick to the old menu. Under immense pressure, Carl reluctantly complies. When the results come out, the restaurant receives a disappointing 2-star rating. The critic is especially harsh toward the head chef, calling the dishes uninspired and barely edible. Worse still, the review goes viral. Carl can't stop himself from reading the comments. The more he reads, the angrier he becomes. Finally, he snaps and responds publicly to the critic, unaware that this impulsive act will ignite a massive internet storm. The critic fires back with vicious insults. A public online feud erupts, escalating until Carl throws down the gauntlet and challenges him to a final showdown. Carl spends an entire day crafting a new menu: sea urchin appetizers, honey-glazed beef, and roast-steamed squab. Everyone who tastes the trial dishes is blown away. The flavors are bold, aromatic, and addictive. On the night of the challenge, the restaurant is fully booked. People come to witness Carl's true skills. For the first time in years, he rediscovers the joy of cooking, because he is finally making food he believes in. But at the worst possible moment, his boss appears and orders him to scrap the new menu and return to the signature dishes. This time, Carl refuses and storms out. He buys a mountain of ingredients and returns home to complete the menu on his own. Meanwhile, the critic arrives at the restaurant as scheduled. As food is served in both places, the contrast is stark. While Carl is at home frying pork belly, crispy but not burnt, rich yet not greasy, stir-frying tender, spicy squid, and searing a fragrant tomahawk steak, the restaurant kitchen collapses into chaos without him. The dishes served there are dull and unappetizing. When the critic realizes Carl is absent, he mocks him online, calling him a coward with no real talent. Carl's blood boils. He rushes to the restaurant and confronts the critic in front of everyone. Overcome with rage and frustration, he grabs a cake from a nearby table and smashes it with his bare hands. He cannot bear to see food he loves being disrespected by an amateur. His rebellion comes at a cost. The video of his outburst spreads rapidly, turning him into a public laughingstock. No restaurant will hire a loose cannon. A talent agency offers him a spot on a dark cuisine reality show. After all, infamy is still fame, but Carl refuses. At rock bottom, Carl numbs himself with alcohol. His son, Leo, grows quiet and retreats into his room. Eventually, Carl's ex-wife, Inez, a successful career woman, steps in. She insists Carl act as Leo's nanny for a week while she travels to Miami to visit her father. Realizing he has neglected his son for years, Carl agrees. In Miami, the city where he began his career a decade earlier and met Inez, Carl slowly begins to rediscover himself. At a bar, he tastes an authentic Cuban sandwich. "It's just as delicious as I remember," he says. "Not as good as yours," Inez replies. She then reveals that her other ex-husband owns an unused food truck. Carl realizes the trip wasn't really about visiting her father, it was her way of helping him climb out of despair. He accepts the offer and goes to meet the ex-husband. Marvin may not be richer than a country, but he is one of the wealthiest men around. Though sarcastic at first, he eventually agrees to lend Carl the food truck. Unfortunately, the vehicle is a wreck, a battered relic that looks pulled straight from a scrapyard. The equipment inside is even worse, little more than rusted junk. Father and son work together, armed with industrial degreaser, scrubbing the truck inside and out. While cleaning the cupboards, Leo discovers a tray of rotten fish and recoils in disgust, tossing the entire metal tray away. Carl immediately orders him to retrieve it. Metal can be cleaned and reused. Still nauseated, Leo refuses, triggering Carl's temper. Leo often claimed he wanted to work in a kitchen, yet now he shunned the dirty labor that came with it. Watching his son run off in tears, Carl realizes he was too harsh. He genuinely wants to teach Leo the realities of the craft. After cleaning the tray himself, Carl apologizes. Like many father-son relationships, their heated argument quickly dissolves into reconciliation. As they shop for new equipment, both feel awkward yet secretly cherish the long-overdue closeness. When Carl's old friend Martin hears about the food truck, he turns down a major promotion and pay raise to join him. He travels thousands of miles to help, deeply moving Carl. To celebrate, Carl chooses their first menu item, a South American classic, the Cuban sandwich. Perfecting it is no simple task. A secret marinade of over a dozen spices is blended with lemon and orange juice. The pork is massaged with the mixture, marinated for 8 hours, then slow roasted for 5 more until tender and juicy. Ham and bread are grilled to a golden brown, layered with cheese, pickles, and fresh mustard. Finally, the crust is slathered in butter and pressed firmly. As the butter sizzles into the bread, the result is a sandwich with an irresistible cheese pull and a perfectly crisp exterior. The experiment is a huge success. When the food truck officially opens, long lines form immediately. The trio works in perfect sync. Martin runs the grill, Carl handles prep and assembly, and Leo finishes the bread. Their next stop is a beachside city. With affordable prices and intoxicating aromas, crowds gather quickly. Passers-by film and post videos online, giving them free publicity. Some recognize Carl as the angry chef from the viral clip, but after tasting the food and seeing his dedication, the rumors fade. Despite their success, Carl intentionally drives away from busy cities to a quiet town in New Orleans. With no crowds around, he takes Leo to a century-old cafe to try beignets, the French donuts Leo has dreamed about. As they stroll through the streets, the last traces of tension disappear. When they return, they are stunned to see a massive line waiting. Leo reveals that he has been vlogging the journey and posting their locations online. Thanks to his social media savvy, fans now follow them everywhere. Carl is thrilled by his son's contribution. They sell out at every stop. But Carl isn't just chasing profits, he samples local cuisine in each city and adapts the flavors into new dishes. The food truck becomes an internet sensation. Though busier than ever, Carl is truly happy, surrounded by people who value his passion. As the journey nears its end, Carl and Leo sit on the roof of the truck. Leo records one final vlog. Carl tells him that life, like a video, is a series of moments stitched together. Though this trip must end, it has prepared them for what comes next. "We had a great time," Carl says. "No one can take these memories away. I feel like I finally know you." The trip ends, and Carl drops Leo off at Inez's house. Back in his quiet apartment, exhaustion settles in. Just as life seems to return to normal, Leo emails him a video montage of their journey, from Carl's despair to his rediscovered joy. Watching it, Carl realizes how much he has changed. He is no longer a factory line robot, he is a dreamer, supported by family and friends. One day, the critic Ramsey appears unannounced. This time, Carl remains calm. Ramsey admits he secretly tried the sandwich. "I almost bit my tongue off," he confesses. Ramsey refuses to review food trucks but offers something greater, funding for a 5-star restaurant in the city center, with Carl as co-owner and creative lead. Soon after, the restaurant opens. With full creative freedom and renewed passion, Carl reaches new heights. His restaurant becomes the most celebrated in the city.